Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And if you've been following us at all, we have been watching all of the Prom Night movies that there aren't that many. And the last one we did was the remake, although it really wasn't a remake of the original. It was completely different. Everything about it was different except the word prom, and that's about it. But that was the same. So anyway, what we usually do when we do a series of movies that are in the same theme and they're connected, you know, the sequel, the remake, the this, the that, we rank them. And it's we also rank, like, let's say you have a TV series, we might rank in one season, we'll rank all the episodes of that season. If there's, let's say, 5 seasons, we'll rank like all the episodes in all 5 seasons against each other. It's a real pain in the, you know what. I hate it, but Gen Z people seem to love to rank things. But this is just a few movies, and basically Marco wrote it, and he is still having some throat issues, so I am reading what he wrote, and we basically agree, because there weren't that many, and the way the story was told and everything, it was very distinct. They're all distinct from each other, basically, so it really, of all the things that we usually rank, it wasn't that hard, basically. So I'm in agreement with what he's saying. And if I don't agree with it, because I haven't really read it yet to myself, then I'll say so. So anyway, Prom Night movies ranked. Oh, I do want to mention that one of our subscribers suggested that we watch Prom Night. So whoever you are, thank you. Because I don't think I even heard of the series, and much less ever watched a movie of it. So, and I don't know, and I don't think Marco had watched any of them either. So, here we go. Okay, there's 5. And the worst, I'll go from worst to best. So the worst Prom Night movie is the 2008 remake, which we just watched. It has nothing to do with the Prom Night series, which I just said. It takes place in a hotel and has Billy Bob Thornton as the killer, which is not true. That is not Billy Bob Thornton. Somebody who looks like him, I guess. The acting is bad. The kills are lame, PG-13 style without any blood. And the writing is abysmal. This was made by the same people who did the horrible Stepfather remake. And if you want to watch a good horror movie, watch the original Stepfather. Those are really pretty good, and they're scary, and that's a good movie to watch at this time of the year. Halloween is a week away, or actually less than a week away. Anyway, it's like this horrible Stepfather remake, and you can tell. The only redeeming quality this movie has is how unintentionally funny it is. Okay, the 4th one is Prom Night 4. Deliver Us from Evil. This movie also feels like it has hardly anything to do with the Prom Night series. They didn't have enough money to even show a prom in a school. This movie takes place at a cabin in the middle of nowhere with a demonic killer priest killing only 3 or 4 people. The characters are dumb, the plot is predictable, and the movie is very boring. There are few redeeming qualities about this movie, and yet it looks like a masterpiece compared to the awful remake. Okay, number 3. And remember, we're going from worst to best. Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss. This movie is a fun, one-off, goofy teen horror movie. But it also doesn't feel like it has much of anything to do with prom. Mary Lou returns, and she's played by a completely different actress who is a little over the top. The movie itself is a cartoon. That's metaphorically speaking. If you took the horror and slasher elements out of it, then you would have a teenage sex comedy like American Pie. Still, I would watch this again over 4 and the remake. Okay, now we're to number 2, Prom Night, the original. This movie is slightly underrated. The characters are one-dimensional and dull, and the movie takes way too long to get going. Jamie Lee Curtis is the worst. And I thought she was the worst because she seemed like she was older than all of the other actors in it. And how could that, right away, that diminishes the value of the movie when you think the main actress is like older and she's supposed to be in high school. And I know that people will make shows like in Glee, for example, using older young people representing high school kids. But, when she's the only one who's the older one, it's kind of weird. And Marco does not care for her because she's kind of like a one-note actress. And I'm sorry, Jamie Lee, but that's the way it is. He thinks she's the worst. And the prom music, there's no excuse for it, was piss poor and annoying. However, it is such a competent horror movie compared to the other 3 previous ones on this list. I also feel the payoff is worth it. I heavily enjoyed this chase sequence in this movie. Okay, well, we're on the number 2 one. The recorder stopped. I apologize. We don't know why it stopped. I also feel the payoff is worth it. I heavily enjoyed the chase sequence in this movie, where you really don't know if this one side character will survive or not. I also liked how human the killer was. He stumbled, made mistakes, and was beaten down to his weakened state at the end of the movie. It feels so refreshing compared to the supernatural immortal killers we always see in horror movies, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because, you look at YouTube, there's tons of real-life horror stories where there's a murderer and they're hardly supernatural. They just kill because they're sick in the head or something. So there's nothing supernatural about that. Okay, the first one, number 1 on the list, the best one of all the Prom Night movies, according to Marco and me, is Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. This movie feels like a Frankenstein's monster of Carrie and Nightmare on Elm Street in the best possible way. It's the only movie of the series that has any, balls. It has some amazingly done nightmare sequences. The villain, Mary Lou, is awesome, and I loved some of the twists the movie had near the end. It felt like a great direction, to take the series, and even though it was an, quote, unnecessary sequel. It shows that even though a sequel may be unnecessary, that doesn't mean it has to be bad on purpose. I applaud the effort they put into it. It's one of my most favorite horror movies I've ever seen. I would highly recommend it. In summary, I am mixed on the Prom Night series. The first movie was a one-off, so the series needed to change directions. It did, and then they took it too far in part 3. And then they switched gears again and did something random and weird. Finally, they did a stupid American remake. The series had potential in the way that there are proms held all over the world. You could tell so many good horror stories at proms. Instead, the series did not take advantage of all they had going for them, all the information out there and all the testimonials. I would only recommend parts 1 and 2. part 3 has a very negative ending, which I did not mention in my original comments about it on this list. And that is it for Marco and me. So, if you've seen any of the Prom Night movies, or if any of these reviews or the rankings of the movies influenced you to watch one of these movies, because it is, I should say this is Halloween week, then go for it. And get ready for Christmas, because all the Christmas movies are coming. Well, they're already out, basically. I actually watched one that I watch every year last night. For some reason, I like it. And there's not that many of these new Hallmarky type ones that are unusual and good, but I like this one for some reason. So anyway, and I finished a book last night. I'm on the last book of the series. And I'm in line to read Salem's Lot, which I've never read, so it'll be interesting to read Salem's Lot. I have not read that many Stephen King books, so we'll see how it goes. It's one of those, which is my favorite kind of book to read, where you listen to it read, because then I can do other things while listening. So that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our over 600 subscribers. We welcome more subscribers. Come on down. And that's it. So have a good evening. Goodbye, everybody.